questions?
Fadal.
What's the correct definition of the word ashiratukum?
Ashiratukum. طيب. Question says, what is the correct definition of ashiratukum? Your ashira. Ashira is simple. Many ways of saying it in English. Okay? Many ways of saying it, and also many sub-applications of it. From one aspect, one may say, my friends are my ashira. My homies. The people that I'm around, that I have influence on, they have influence over me, etc. One may say, no, ashira is actual kin. Meaning what? Actual blood relation. But then obviously that branches off. You have in-laws, etc. People who inherit from you, don't inherit from you. Very, very long discussion. Family. The word family is also oftentimes what? Broad, a family member. There may be someone who's related to you through blood. You and this man or this woman, you share this relative, this is your uncle, aunt, etc. But you never ever speak to that person or see that person. They may laugh at you, make fun of you. Don't want to hear anything you have to say. You're an extreme Wahhabi, fundamentalist. And you may have someone who has no relations to you whatsoever, but he's with you, you're around that person, and they listen to you and they look up to you, and it's upon you to do what? Warn them. So therefore, no doubt about it, a person should give da'wah to his or her family through statement and through action, through example. And a person should give da'wah to anyone that he comes across. Anyone that you interact with and you come across, give them da'wah. Whether it's verbal, whether it's physical, whether it's through a book, whatever the case may be, to the best of your ability. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
Initials AA from Montreal, Canada. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. My parents made me responsible of my younger siblings since they are not really around during the week. How do I behave towards them? Also, can I go through their personal devices, i.e. phone, computer, if I'm suspicious of something? Or is that considered spying?
طيب. Question says, my parents made me responsible for my younger siblings. They're not around for some time during the week, etc. How should I behave with them, treat them? Am I allowed to go through their devices, etc.? I would say you being their guardian or their temporary guardian, looking after them, is going to be based off of what your relationship with them already is. Do you already have a good, healthy, existing relationship? Or are you totally cut off? There's sibling rivalry. People don't like you, you don't like them, they don't respect you, whatever the case may be. So I can't give you just one answer. If you have a good relationship with them, then keep that good relationship with them. And we know that the experts of affairs of state and affairs of military or military affairs, they say that the best way to lead is to lead through humane treatment and not through cruelty and not through harshness. Cruelty and harshness, it may suit and serve a purpose at a time, but that cannot be the absolute way that you rule a country and you rule a gathering of men. People won't be loyal. They won't stand up for harsh and vile treatment. So the point is to win people over through kindness. Oftentimes people will listen to you. They may obey you. They may follow you just because you're kind to them. Doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're a pushover. Your younger siblings, but being what? Kind to them. Being their friend and not, I'm your older brother. And listen to what I have to say. And if you don't, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. These are some of the reasons why there's always rivalries between siblings. Okay? So that's something to be mindful of. And the Prophet said, he summarized all of these different wisdoms when he says, مَا كَانَ الرِّفْقُ فِي شَيْءٍ إِلَّا زَانَهُ. Whenever there's gentleness in the thing becomes beautiful. It becomes what? Beautiful. And he also said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ رَفِيقٌ يُحِبُّ الرِّفْقِ وَيُعْطِي عَلَيْهِ مَا لَا يُعْطِي عَلَى الْأُنْفِ. Aisha narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said that indeed Allah is gentle and He loves gentleness. And Allah will allow things to happen through gentleness much more than through violence. Much more than through what? Through violence. So be mindful of that. But of course, you being older than them, there has to be an amount of respect. So you don't play with them but so much. You don't joke with them but so much. When it's time to get serious, you say, stop. No, that's inappropriate. Don't cross the line. Wahakadha. Alright? As far as if you had a bad relationship beforehand, then obviously you're going to have to mend the relationship before you even get into any type of authority or I'm in charge of the household. You have to mend the relationship because they don't even want to hear what you have to say. You walk in the room, they want to feel what? Turned off. Alright? As far as going through their devices, If you feel that there's something haram, is that spying, etc. The asl is that you don't go through someone's device. That's the default. Unless there is something which is very strong, in which you have a good amount of context clues and a strong gut feeling that something is seriously wrong with your little brother. The behavior is noticeable when it comes to prayer, when it comes to sleep, when it comes to eating habits, hygiene. All of these things clearly prove that he's hiding something on his phone that he's not supposed to be hiding or he's not supposed to be looking at. So if you can advise him indirectly, then that's the best thing to do. Admonish him indirectly, that's the best thing to do. If you can't prove it or you can't get him to stay away from whatever he's doing haram, except but going to his phone, then maybe out of necessity. But it's going to end badly in most cases because he's going to feel like you violated his or her privacy. I have a personal note. I have a diary on my phone. I have a video that I'm watching. I'm not proud of it, but I don't want you to see it. So that may push them even further away from the haqq. I would suggest is that if you know for sure, sit down and talk with them. Be upfront. You don't need no introduction. Just tell them like, listen, I was once 16. I know how it is being 16. I know there may be challenges. That's not cool. That's not all right. That's dangerous. That's detrimental. That's haram. Keva, etc. All right? If the only way that they are going to stop, the only way, by you exposing them to your parents, out of necessity, then perhaps it's permissible at that time. But don't rush towards that solution. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
From Birmingham, UK. Assalamu alaikum. May Allah elevate your mention. Is it better to say Sunan or Jami' al-Tirmidhi?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Walaka bil-mithil akhi al-aziz. Wa nawwaraka Allah bi ta'atihi. Ameen. The proper terminology is Jami' al-Tirmidhi. Jami' al-Tirmidhi. Even though the different genres of books of hadith, sometimes they overlap. Sometimes a jami' is a sunan, sometimes a sunan is a jami', etc. But if you want the actual proper technical surgical precision, then it's jami'. Jami' at-Tirmidhi. Wallahu a'lam.
With initials AM from Springfield, Virginia, George Mason University. What is the definition of taqleed?
Question says, what is the definition of taqleed? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Taqleed, the ulama of Islam, they say it comes from the qilad, meaning like a string or a rope, a bell on a cow's neck. Similar to something that you pull the cow off, like the muzzle in the rein. You lead the cow, you lead the horse, you lead the donkey around. That's taqleed, qilada. Everybody understand this? That's linguistically. As far as legislatively, then they say, ittiba' man laysa bihujja bila hujja. They say following someone who isn't a proof without proof. Following someone who is not a hujjah without what? Hujjah. And the only one whose statement is absolutely hujjah is Muhammad ibn Abdullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Absolutely, we said. What? Absolutely. Details when Abu Bakr says this, Umar, etc. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
Last question.
Fadda.
Sophia Jawara from Maryland. Assalamu alaikum. Someone told me once you wear niqab, you can't take it off. Due to my family, I only wear niqab at school, masjid, etc. But someone said if I can't wear it full time, I shouldn't wear it at all. Is this true?
I don't believe that that's true. You wear the niqab based off of what you believe in your heart. If you believe that the niqab, and we said before, not necessarily the niqab, but covering the face, that's the proper terminology. Because you can cover your face without a what? Without a niqab. If you believe that covering the face is mandatory, then it's mandatory to do it. For one reason or another, you change. You've learned something else. You feel a different way. Your heart is swayed and you don't feel it's mandatory no more, then that's a different story. As the people of knowledge, they say, إِنَّ الْمُتَطَوِّعَ أَمِيرُ نَفْسِهِ. This says the one who's doing voluntary acts is in charge of himself. Is what? It's like you volunteer for the volunteer firefighter, a volunteer for the army, whatever. You come in when you win and you what? I'm volunteering. Obviously, but even that, there's times when you're on this shift as a volunteer, you have to stay. All right? As far as is it best to wear it sometimes and not all of the time, you should either go one way or another. It's only two speeds. No, I don't agree with that. Rather, a sister wearing the niqab sometimes may lead her to wearing it all of the time. Or there may be certain situations of necessity or need in which she has to do it like that. So sometimes there is flexibility in the fiqh of al-Islam. Wallahu alam. Ahmed.
Like sometimes on the train
Say that again?
Like sometimes on the trains and stuff, you see musicians and stuff.
Okay.
Should we donate to them? Like,
With regards to on the train or in the train station, you see musicians. See someone playing a violin, huh? Or a flute or a electric guitar, huh? Or harmonica, etc. Drums, the list goes on, huh? Especially on New York City subways. Only Allah knows what you might see in the New York City subways. At the end of the day, don't give them your wealth. Allah says, وَلَا تُؤْتُوا السُّفَهَاءَ أَمْوَالَكُمْ. Don't give fools your money. So if you consider someone to be foolish, whoever they are, then know what? Don't give them any money. Anyone that you consider to be what? Foolish. Wallahu alam. Abdul Wadud.
Hey, sorry.
Tafaddal.
Yeah, so in relations to asking if you eat something haram, unhalal, what kind of sins?
Which one? Haram or unhalal?
Both.
Tahir. Faddal.
Okay.
What's the question again? I'm sorry?
Yeah, if you eat meat that's haram, what's the sin that wipes away the deeds for that? Is there anything for that?
Sin that wipes away the deeds,
Yeah, for eating haram.
or the expiation for wiping away the sin?
No doubt.
Well, I'm confused.
Okay, if you eat haram meat, does it do anything as far as
Clear, like khamar or something, etc.
Yeah.
Question says, if you eat haram meat, does it wipe away your good deeds? In general, the concept of making bad deeds, okay, and bad deeds overwhelming, making your scale light, etc. That's the general rule. Okay, that's the general what? It's a general rule, all right? As far as, is there a specific hadith in which he who eats this will have his prayer unaccepted? Nah, I don't know of anything like that. But you've disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is a means of your iman falling, and that's a means of your heart swaying towards the haram. فَلَمَّا زَاغُوا أَزَاغَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبَهُم. When they strayed, Allah sent their what? Their hearts astray. So every time you disobey Allah, you're getting closer to that and further away from this. All right? But a specific text about the punishment or these deeds being nullified through eating non-halal meat, that's something that I don't know of. Wallahu alam. Fadal.
when it comes to watching news of the, like just general news, like Channel 7 or whatever, is it haram to watch it from people who are of the homosexual, LGBT,
Right. As far as watching news, then whether it's because of LGBT or the weather woman is a woman, the weather woman obviously wearing tight clothes, or the weatherman, your wife finds attractive, it's reality, or the music or whatever the case may be, or even deeper than that, lies. The lies that come on the news. I mean, we don't get into, as they say, conspiracy theories. A lot of them, are they theories or is it facts? We don't want to get into that right now. What's important is you'll be shocked if you learnt the amount of filters that the thing that you see on this channel 7 or channel 10, it goes through. You'll be shocked. Several different filters. It's like tap water. The water that you flush the toilet with, take a shower with, it goes through what? Levels of purification. And then it's filtered, solids, this, and that, cleansing, and then bang. You'll be shocked if you learn how many filters the news goes through. Like you say about white sugar. What's the nutritional value of it? How many things, how many processes it goes through to become white? Like that. So that's just food for thought. Whether it's a homosexual or whether it's a woman with tight clothes on or whatever the case may be. Whether it's the background music, the jingle, whatever. There's just something to be mindful of. The lies that come on the news and the inaccurate information. Let alone the fact that even if it isn't a lot of inaccurate information, what does the news do to a person and for a person? Focusing on your own life and on your own important things that are in front of you. I'm not saying it's haram to watch the news. I didn't say that. I'm saying this is food for thought. Wallahu alam.